Good morning, children. Let us see here. There were 6 schools of Indian philosophy. We have studied about Upanishads and the great thinkers. Over the centuries in India, intellectual exploration, that means the great thinkers evolved here. Many great thinkers existed in our country. So their ideals were very important, and they wanted to preach these ideals in different parts of India. So there were mainly 6 schools of Indian philosophy merged in our country. So 6 systems of philosophy, we can say. Their ideology or their philosophy, they were known as Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, Vedanta and Uttara Mimamsa. These were the 6 schools of philosophy, or the 6 ideals of great thinkers. They also established their institutions in various parts of our country. They were the 6 philosophical schools, we can say: Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, Vedanta or Uttara Mimamsa. Okay, so these were the 6 systems of philosophy, and said to have been founded by the sages, some of the rishis or the sages or the great men or having great knowledge. Sages like Konada, Gautama and Kapila, Patanjali, Jaimini and Vyasa. These were the Vyasa. We have already studied about him. And so these were the sages or the great thinkers, or even we can say rishis, existed and established these 6 schools of philosophy in our country. So these philosophers still guide the scholarly discourse in the country. We know that they like Buddha, these people also had great knowledge, and they expressed their views and also debated with other people and explained their knowledge to the people, common people especially. These philosophers also, we know that another person, we are going in the modern century, German born British Indologist, who is an Indologist who is studying about the culture, languages of any region or any area of the country or the different parts of the world. So such kind of a German born British Indologist, he was known as Frederick Max Muller. He has observed that the 6 systems of philosophy were developed over many generations with contributions made by the individual thinkers. So these sages like Konala, Gautama, Kapila, Patanjali, Vyasa, etc. So these people lived in the different periods, and their ideologies which were evolved. They set up some of the institutional establishments in our country. Okay, so they also made their contribution to while writing. Their knowledge they passed to the another generations. Okay, in the previous class we have studied the Upanishadic thinking, or these books were also revised by Shankaracharya. Like that, here today we find an underlying harmony in their understanding of truth, which we know that today we find the truth which existed in the minds of the ancient philosophers. Okay, so these were the great philosophers existed in our country. So these Upanishads or these books, we can find some of the stories. Okay, many stories, that is like the dialogues. For one example, we can say in the Upanishads, one story was given, the wise beggar. We know when the rishis or sages, they Buddha's case also, we know in Buddhism also, Buddha insisted who are coming to join Buddhism, they have to leave their families, they have to avoid their family life, and they come individually to join as a Buddhist bhikkhu or bhikkhuni. Okay, so here we know that there is a one story is given about a beggar. He was a wise beggar. Can we see any beggar who is so wise? One wise beggar comes, approaches the rishis here or sadhus here, and there is a dialogue or conversation between the beggar and the sadhus here. Okay, so what was the saints or sadhus made the such kind of a dialogue between the beggar? So one day this story is given in the Chandogya Upanishads. There are many Upanishads. In the Chandogya Upanishads it is mentioned here, Shaunaka and Abhipratarin. These were the two sages. Okay, Shaunaka and Abhipratarin. These were the two sages who worshipped the universal soul, means God. We have already studied what is Atman and Brahman. Brahman is the universal soul which exists in the universe, okay, which we call as God. So these two sages, Shaunaka and Abhipratarin, they were worshipping the God, universal soul. One day, while they were sitting for taking food, a beggar came and asked these people some food. Can we? Then the Shaunaka or one of the sadhus said, we cannot share, we cannot spare anything for you. Then the beggar said, learned, that means as having the people who has a great knowledge. The beggar respected, whom do you, and asked them, whom do you worship? The beggar asked the sadhus. They said, we worship the universal soul. So it means, the beggar said, it means that you know that the universal soul fills the entire world. What is the meaning of universal soul? And the Brahman exists all over the earth, all over the universe, all other planets also. So you believe that universal soul fills the entire world. Yes, yes, they said. Then if the universal soul fills the whole world, it fills me and you too. Okay, so that means if there is the universal soul existing in the entire world, it is in me and it's in you too. So whom I am, but I am also part of the universal soul. As like you, I am also part of the universal soul. That means you speak the truth, O young Brahmin, he said. Then, O sages, by not giving me food, you are actually denying food to the universal soul. So the beggar said, when you deny food, you are not providing me food. That means you are denying food to the universal soul. You are denying food to the God only. There the sages, all the rishis realized the truth what the beggar was said. So this was a story given in the Upanishads in order to give the knowledge about God which exists all over the earth. Okay, so here we will study about Jainism in the coming class.